are you?
How are you? All right?
Yeah, well, thanks.
Good.
Bonjour everyone, thank you for joining us for this squad announcement press conference with Rhian Wilkinson ahead of Cymru's World Cup qualifiers against Czechia and Montenegro. Dad, would you like to kick
Do you want me to have a mic? Or are we all right?
Oh, it's fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hello, Rhian.
Hi.
Just looking at the squad first of all, you'd be pleased to have Olivia Clark, Kerry Holland back in, and Laura Hughes.
Yep. Scarlett Hill in from the 19s, of Kelly. I think it's an exciting squad. We're really building our depth with Wales, which is fantastic. I think we know we can't have a squad that names itself, and we're seeing that with this one.
Yeah, I mean, Olivia Clark obviously gives you an option in goal. Kerry Holland, we all know how influential she is. And what about Laura Hughes? You brought her in, didn't you, in the winter, and then we haven't seen her since.
Yeah.
You're hoping she can sort of get her Wales career started now properly?
Yeah, I think Laura had a little injury as soon as she went back to Australia, so it's a long way to travel with someone who's got a knock, so we've been waiting for her to be fit and healthy. She played a big part in her team winning the league and winning the cup in Australia, so she's been playing well, and I think she's with her grandparents or her grandfather in Porthcawl right now, so she will be on the time zone early, so we're happy to have her back in.
So that's helpful. Is she a player you see competing to be a regular starter in this Wales team?
We've had one camp with Laura Hughes, and she did very well. I thought she brought a lot of energy, a lot of intensity to training, which I really appreciated. And so I think she's got another opportunity to show me, but equally to integrate herself with the squad.
No Hayley Ladd. Can you tell us what the situation is with her?
Yeah, Hayley has a knock as well, and so opportunity for us to see a few other players, but equally an important member of our squad who's just not healthy for this camp.
But it's nothing significant injury-wise, is it?
No.
What about Gemma Evans? She's without a club. How do you see her situation?
Yeah, it's always an interesting time of the year where you see our players without a squad or in contract negotiations. It is stressful for them. We do appreciate that coming into a really important window. Gemma has not reached out for any support, so I think she's in a good space, whatever that is with her agent. But it's not uncommon at this time of the year. We have important players without any team.
Do you? I mean, would you be hopeful that she'll join another WSL club, or does that not worry you where she goes next?
I think it's a dangerous thing to say I would like her in a WSL club. I think Gemma needs to be playing. I think that there's a fine line between how low you drop in order to find minutes, and equally I think I've been clear that I would like our players to continue to look overseas if that gives them the best options, whether that's Scandinavia, whether that's North America. So I'll trust that her and her agent are finding her the best situation for her as a player.
And you could give a reference that wherever Gemma ends up, you know, there's a quality player there available.
Absolutely, and that is something I have to say when I was a club coach, working with agents was a real challenge because obviously they all have their own agenda, but as a national team coach, I've done my best to try and be available to as many agents as possible as someone who can recommend the players, who can reach out and try and support them getting into the best possible environment. So I do actually have really enjoyed trying to support the players as well as their agents to get them in the best environments.
Leicester City were relegated at the weekend. Obviously, you've got a couple of players there.
Yeah.
How tough a spell for them? And, I mean, will it be good for them coming away with Wales? How do you see that?
Well, I had a couple of players on the other team as well, so we had the game up. We were watching because we were at the FAW conference, so I sent a few of my staff to watch it in person. It was a cagey game. It was tough to watch, actually. You know, both teams really hesitant. Fantastic performance by the Charlton keeper. A tough moment, you know, for Liv and Hannah Kane, and we've got to respect that. That's, you know, it is really tough for them in the club. And I do hope that when our players, no matter what's happening at club, come in to play for Wales, that they find it to be an environment where they can just take a breath and relax a bit, and hopefully things, again, get sorted and behind the scenes for what their next moves are.
And Hannah, in this campaign, although she's had a difficult season with her club, she has been, you know, in really good form for you, hasn't she?
She has. She's played really well, and I think we've seen that across the board for the whole time I've been here, 2+ years, is that Form for club does not always translate form for country, whatever the reason for that. We've got to evaluate our players when they're with Wales. They're often in different positions. They play or are being asked to play differently with club, and it's how they link with their teammates here and how they support what I'm asking for that really counts.
As you said, some players have gone up to the WSL, some dropped out as it stands.
Yeah.
Does it, as Wales head coach, does it worry you how many players you have in the WSL or not?
No, it doesn't, and I don't think it should be a habit. But last window, I had 6 players from the 3rd tier, and I don't think that's right either. And I think the 3rd tier is getting better and better, and that level is really improving. I think we'll have more players in that, sort of more quality players, especially our young ones coming through that division. But the WSL has and is part of the England pathway, and I've always said it's been a struggle for my Welsh players to get the minutes that sometimes I think they deserve. WSL 2 has played a huge part in the development for our squad, but equally I think we can't overlook the amazing work that Carrie Jones has done over in Sweden and what she's delivering over there. And we just got to make sure we look at all our options to just get our players in the best environments, whether that's WSL, whether it's WSL 2, or whether it's going abroad. We've just got to make sure we're exploring everything.
Do you think it's the talent then of the Wales players that affects whether they're getting opportunities, or do you mentioned there that it's an England pathway? Do you think it's difficult for them because of the fact that it's the English league?
Well, you just have to be the very best to beat out a player from England, and that is correct. This is, as a Canadian who came through the American pathway, it is very normal. We, as a smaller country, will always rely on the leagues around us. That's not a problem in itself. We've just got to make sure that we've got different avenues, not just the WSL. And sometimes young players need to go away to come back and to be valued appropriately. That's not a knock on the WSL. I think it's a fantastic league. I'm really enjoying it. It's just, how do I get my players more game time and give them more visibility? And sometimes we've just got to think a little bit differently than we have been in the past.
Since we last saw you, you've signed a new contract.
Yeah.
Tell us why.
Well, I'm very grateful to the FAW for my team and for my staff who have made this such a pleasure. And it's been tough. It's been much harder than I expected and much better than I expected. And I sat down with my family and we looked at the different options for the next few years of my career. And to be honest, none of them felt right. I don't think this project is finished. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be the one who gets us to the next World Cup or does something amazing next. I just feel like I can help raise the level another notch before the next coach comes in and drives them forward again, because that is what the job is of the next coach, is just continually drive the team forward. And I don't think I'm finished with that project.
But you'll be hopeful, I'm sure, that you can make at least one more major tournament.
That's the goal. I just think we put a lot of emphasis on it, and we do as a team. We know internally and externally that we've been very clear with our ambition. I think we have to know that we'll give everything we have, but what is our gauge of success and failure? I was just talking to the staff before, in last camp we had 11 players under the age of 23, and this is a big move for us as a team, as a staffing team, is how do we make sure that the legacy of our time working as a staff for this program means that we're leaving it in a really healthy environment where this team doesn't name itself, where we've got depth and different options in every position across the field. And if we can do that well, we will qualify for major tournaments.
So is that almost, you feel, as sort of your number one on your list, is to play your part in developing players who perhaps aren't right in the first team picture as it stands?
Well, it's not the number one. It is a major part of it. I come from a youth background, and I believe in it. I believe in trying to give opportunity to the younger players and to make space for them to do that. But equally, I think success is measured by wins and losses. We know that, and we've got a pretty exciting campaign we're right in the middle of, and right around the corner some really important games.
Kath Morgan, former Wales captain, said after you signed the new deal, she said she's worried about the pathway, about the number of players coming through, and that she hopes you will make sure that is a focus maybe finances, not necessarily in terms of what you do, but the way, what's put into trying to develop players. What do you make of those thoughts?
I have a lot of respect and time for Kath Morgan, obviously given a lot for the program. She can come and speak to me. I think as a senior team we've produced and we are developing more youth players through our pathway than most national teams. I'm not quite sure if she's talking about the senior team.
I think in general she's talking about the number of Welsh players coming through, emerging at the moment.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of change happening right now. So as the head of the women's national team, I think I am being asked to comment on areas of the program that aren't under my mandate. So all I can say is for the senior team, we work really hard to make sure that our pathway is healthy and that you see the players coming through it.
Following on from that, and it might not be your area, but Kelly's mum is leading this campaign. You're aware of, I think. Yeah. She wants there to be under 21 and under 23 Wales women's sides. Do you think that's a good idea? Is that something that needs to happen?
Yeah, well, I only just found out about it because I think the question was coming, but go-getter mums, or why there's probably women that are so prominent in sport right now in Wales are women who fought what they had, right? Which is probably no PE, no opportunity to play sport. So I love that we've got strong women who are fighting for what they think is right. I don't have an under-23 team or under-21 team. What we do instead from the senior end is that every camp I've got 3 slots that I bring 3 under-23 players in, which I think has really helped with the integration into the senior squad. I'm not saying that's correct. I'm not saying it's the right pathway. I think when you are missing something, because we do not have enough youth teams on the women's side for Wales, we do our best to find a way to maximize what we do have. And so I am really happy that we've been able to do that, and I think we've seen dividends like that pay off. But I don't have much. I really did just hear about it. But as someone who has a very strong mother, who liked to make sure that she was fighting for me and my sisters and making sure that we were getting everything she felt we deserved, I understand that it's a powerful thing to have parents involved.
And just a final one for me. Alice Griffiths has retired from full-time professional football.
Yeah.
Obviously played for you not that long ago. What do you make of her decision? Is that a surprise to you?
No, it wasn't. And Alice is an exceptional young lady who I think we have to applaud for knowing herself and recognizing that she wasn't in a good spot and taking action to help herself and her family. She did. It was great to have her in our environment, but equally I've had quite a few conversations with her, and someone who's so self-aware and so able to understand what they need in that moment. I'm pretty in awe of, and I think we can be upset that she stepped away, but equally really proud of someone, a young person, recognizing exactly what they need in that moment, and I wish her all the best.
Just a couple from me. Excuse me, Rhian, if that's okay. Maisie Davis, do you think there's any chance of seeing her back on that pitch for Wales in this camp? Because I know it was heartbreaking to see her get that injury right before the Euros. It's probably been a long old journey for her to get back to this point. So just
not too tough a club season, however, I think she said. No, she was actually healthy and ready to be in the 23s last camp. Worked with Man City, and we decided to use her as a training player just to get her back in and not feel that extra strain or pressure. So she's in the 23s this window, and she'll come in with everyone else, and we look forward to seeing her back and eligible to be named in the squad.
Yeah, just to touch on obviously the fantastic season that she's had with Man City as well. You've got players that have, of course, experienced the lowest of lows, but then, having a talent like Maisie coming in, a part of the best team in the country at the moment. What can that do, in terms of what does that bring to this team?
I think winning is a habit. And it's, I talk about going to the Euros, and that was a really tough experience, an incredible experience, but tough to lose like that. But you don't know about the Euros until you go to the Euros, and you don't know about winning the leagues until you win the league. And Maisie doing that, and having, Carrie Holland, Liverpool had a tough season, but Player of the Year, fantastic season for her. So we have had players that have felt that and have seen real success, and then players that have had really tough seasons, and it's how they come together and sort of support each other on that journey and learn how to win together. And Maisie at a very young age now, a league winner, obviously in the FA Cup final. So, a team that has had a lot of success this season, I think, can only help us.
And in terms of the two final games, in terms of this group stage, we had Montenegro first and then Czechia. What's obviously 6 points is the dream, but what does a successful camp look like for you at the end of this week?
Yeah, well, we want to finish top of the group and re-qualify for League A. I think we've been honest about that. I think last camp we had one of our best camps off the field in our first game, and then we ended it in a performance that I didn't think reflected who this team is. So I've had one-on-ones with every player through this gap, this sort of break, just to sit with them on the phone and just talk about, like, this is the difference between, like, those top teams, is when they have an off day, they don't drop that far. And we reverted to a type of football that I don't think we've ever played. And that was a frustration for me, but equally the players were so frustrated with themselves. So there is a part of me that says we are completely tied with Czechia, everything. I mean, they're 2 goals ahead of us, so they're ahead on goal differential, we're aware. But other than that, a lot of our goals, we're undefeated coming through. We're scoring. We've conceded less goals. There's a lot of things that we can look at and say, like, we're ticking the box, knowing that we've got 2 very important games right around the corner where we've got to make sure that we deliver 2 back-to-back performances that we can be proud of. And that is what I've always talked about now. So that performance is important to me.
Just finally, in the Cardiff City Stadium, it will be a winner-takes-all scenario, just a message to the fans, because I'm sure, we would love to see that stadium packed out, because that is going to be a massive game in terms of how the road to Brazil could shape then over the next few months.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the fans in advance for coming out and supporting us. They've been doing that incredibly well. So we're obviously in Llanelli, and then we were up in Wrexham, and now coming back to Cardiff. This team is Wales. I mean, they are so proud of what they're doing, and we've got this opportunity to play a team that is pretty much completely even with us. Like, what an opportunity. I love games like this. We just have to show up. It will be a tight game. It will be a close game, and I think I know our fans will be a big difference maker in that. The atmosphere they create, the ambiance, the way that we're just breaking records over and over again with the fans that show up to support the team is massive for these women. And I'd just like to say I was just at an event on Monday, a fun football event, and just seeing these fields now covered in young girls going wild. You see the parents in the shade, just like, oh my God. It's a special time in Wales for young girls and boys, this equal opportunity, this moment in time where I think the game is just blowing up. And I hope that so many Welsh people bring out their young people to watch these women, because this is a special group. And I said it before Jess and Kaylee retired, and I'll say it now. There's a group of women on that pitch who you won't ever see again. They're the real builders of the game, who are delivering a type of football that I think we can be very proud of. Thank you.
Hi, Rhian.
Hi.
I just wanted to ask you about Czechia. Obviously, you started the campaign against them.
Yeah.
What have you made of their performances and results since then?
Well, we got away with one against Czechia away. But that was an important tie for us. At least Hughes last-minute winner, but they had the better opportunities in that game, and we know that was a big shake. We'd had sort of a really tough 2025 on purpose. We ended it really well, and I think we forgot that we're going to have to work for everything in League B. Nothing was given. You've got to bring that fight as well as the skill sets, and that was really delivered to us by a very strong Czechia team, very well organized, some incredible talent on the team. Watching them come through the campaign, you think, wow, this is a team that's really in step with us. There's not much between the two teams, and it's going to be an exciting game.
I wanted to ask you as well about Maren Griffiths.
Yeah.
Go back a year when you announced just going for the Euros, she wasn't really in contention, wasn't included.
Yeah.
And she's had such a fantastic 12 months since then to be such a big part of your squad now.
Yeah.
Just wondering, what have you made of her development as a player, but as a person as well?
Well, as a person, she's always been incredibly professional. My conversations with Mared always surprise me, always, because she always says something where I'm like, wow, this is really, really mature and professional for someone who is so young. I think what I'm so proud of about Mared is that she is a full sort of pathway project, and by that I mean there's been massive conversations. We brought her in early on with me. She was part of my first camp, and you saw her development, and then you saw like she wasn't quite there. We gave her a cap, and she's like a little bit overawed. And what I have seen in the past with other teams I've worked with is when you just throw young people in and they're not quite ready, and then you just keep throwing it, it affects how they play. They lose that confidence. And so I thought Nia did a great job. We went down to the 19s, and what we just said to Mared is like, own this team. And that is what she did. She showed up with the 19s. She had no like resentment at not being with the seniors. She took her opportunity. She led that group of players with real confidence, but leadership, and really now then when she came back with the senior team, was almost like a different player. She doesn't seem to mind when she makes mistakes, which is what I need. I need players that are confident enough to do something different and then just get on with it when it doesn't work out. And I have to say the same sort of pathways worked for Scarlett Hill. I look at watching her with the 19s, the 2 goals against England. That's what we want. We want to bring players into the senior squad, see if they're ready. If they're not, they come down to the 19s. We ask them to show up and deliver for that team and raise the level, and that's exactly what's been going on. And both Scarlett now in the full squad, but equally Mared, who's not just in the full squad, but almost always contention for a starting position. Fantastic players.
Yeah, just one from me. You've obviously just signed another 2 years. What's your hope in 2 years' time? What women's football is going to look like in Wales?
I hope we're ahead of target in registered players. I think the FAW is almost careful and like, okay, we've got to 20,000 and then in 10 years we want to be at 40,000. I want to like really push this moment. I hope we've qualified for another major tournament. And I hope that we can see a real alignment across our systems. For when I do leave, that we've got this alignment. You see that whether they're youth coming up and then back down, or whether the pathway someone leaves but they stay within our net, if I can say that, so that as many players as possible are getting funneled into a system that's valuing them and giving them opportunity. That's the ambition anyway. Thank you. Yeah.
Any other questions? No, I believe it is. Thanks,
All right.
everyone.
Thank
Yeah.
you.